Hello everyone, this is Anrich Marais. Welcome to another video on how to save tax in South Africa. For today's video, we will look at claiming the home office expenses deduction and when you will be able to claim such a deduction. Let's get into it. So firstly, what are home office expenses? Home office expenses refers to expenses that you will incur to maintain a home office. So this will typically be when you have to work from home for an employer, or if you are a commission earner, you will use your home office as your base from where you work and you will go out and see clients. So when would someone work from home? Typically when it offers better flexibility in how and when you work, also for better productivity. So if you work from home, if you have a separate room, you'll be able to close a door and have less distractions than working in a big open office where there's a lot of people working, a lot of talking going on, and a lot of distractions. Also for health reasons, say someone has an illness or a disability and it would just be more practical for them to work from home, they could work from a home office. Also for saving costs, so how does that work? So renting an office and renting a larger office for a big employee force can cost a lot of money, so your employer can save costs if they let their employees work from home. Also, as we saw with the COVID-19, national law required us to work from home to stay safe and to flatten the curve. So in terms of national law, they can also require you to work from home or to keep a home office. So what exactly are home office expenses? So in the Income Tax Act, to claim any expense, we'll look at section 11A, that is the general deduction formula for the general claiming of expenses against your income. When it comes to home office, we further look at what is called section 23B of the Income Tax Act. So in terms of section 23B, you can claim home office expenses on the rent of a premises, the cost of repairs to a premises, and also expenses in connection with the premises. But that's not all. If you maintain a home office, you will typically have more expenses than that, and these will include, for example, having a phone, paying for internet, you have to be connected, paying for stationery, you maybe have books, pens, and the lot, paying rates and taxes, you have to clean your home office. You may also have office equipment, for example, a printer or a nice chair, and any repairs that you will be doing to those items. You will also have general wear and tear. Now, what is wear and tear? Wear and tear is when you use an asset, usually the asset's value depreciates. So say I use a computer or a laptop, in a year's time that computer will be old and I will maybe have to replace it with another one. So depreciation is basically the aging of an asset. So great. Can you now claim all of these expenses if you work from home during the COVID-19 lockdown? Let's look at what the requirements are to in fact claim the home office expenses deduction. So what SARS says is there are a few requirements that we will have to look at. The first of these requirements is the room requirement. So SARS requires that for the room requirement, a room must be regularly and exclusively used for trade, and your room must be specifically equipped for that purpose. You must only use the room for working, so that unfortunately excludes a dining room and also shared rooms. So for the room requirement, what SARS requires is that you have a separate room that you have set up specifically as a home office and that you use it exclusively for that purpose. The second requirement is that if you receive a salary and also where you work, SARS requires you to perform your duties mainly in that room. So for mainly, that means more than 50% of your working time needs to be spent in that room. So say your normal working day, you start working, SARS will require you that you sit in this home office and that you sit and work in that home office for more than 50% of the time. And over the 2021 year of assessment, that will mean also more than 6 months of the year of the tax year you would have had to sit in this home office and perform your duties from that home office. The third one is for commission or variable income earners. So where more than 50% of your income is from commission or variable income, variable payments, and your employer requires you to work more than 50% of your time in an office that is not provided by your employer, then you may also be eligible to claim home office expenses if you have a separate home office at your home. So for salary earners working from home, there is even more requirements. So in Section 23M of the Income Tax Act applies if you receive a salary or remuneration and you're working from home for an employer. In terms of Section 23M of the Income Tax Act, you can look to claim the following expenses. So you can look to claim your rental. So if you're renting a property, your rental of your property. You can look at claiming repairs. You can also look at claiming expenses in connection with the premises under Section 11A, which is the general deductions, under Section 11D when you have done any repairs and maintenance, or under Section 11E for wear and tear. If you've used something and the value has depreciated, you may be able to claim wear and tear. Unfortunately, for salary earners working from home, you will unfortunately not be able to claim the following expenses. They will include the cost of your phone, your internet, your stationery, your rates and taxes, the cleaning, any office equipment, furniture and fittings, and repairs thereto. So this is unfortunate for salary earners working from home that they are not able to claim these expenses. So in the previous slide, we heard the term expenses in connection with the premises. So what exactly does that mean? So the clarification on this says that it is interest on a mortgage bond. So what we see now is that it's not only persons that rent a property that can claim something, but also people that own a property or are paying down an installment. They can also claim. So you've purchased the property, you're paying an installment. That installments consist of an interest portion and a capital portion, and then the interest on your mortgage bond. You can also look at claiming for that. Furthermore, you can claim on your rates and taxes and other municipal charges such as refuge and sewage. You can also look to claim levies if you're living in an estate that charges levies. Also electricity and cleaning costs. Unfortunately, we can't claim insurance, and the reasoning behind that is that insurance is usually life insurance, and such a product is capital in nature. So if you make contributions to life insurance, you're not able to claim a deduction for that. Also not household insurance, because SARS says that the insurance you take out on household is usually for the contents of your house and not on the house itself. So if you are able to claim home office expenses, then how would you claim that? So SARS says that it's based on the area of your home that is used for work, and it is calculated on a prorated basis. What this means is that you will have to look at what is the square meterage of your home office over what is the square meterage of your home. So that is your physical home. So you can get an architectural plan and you can look at what is the square meters of my home office. Say it's a separate room that is used exclusively and is fitted for a home office, over what is my total square meterage of my whole home. So what is the formula then? The formula is A over B times the total cost. So what does A represent? A represents the area in square meterage of the area specifically equipped and used regularly and exclusively for trade for your employment. B represents the total area in square meterage of the residence, including any outbuildings and the area used for trade in the residence. The total costs will then be the total cost incurred in the acquisition and the upkeep of the property, but excluding those expenses which are of a capital nature. So now that you have seen that you're able to claim the home office expenses, you have done the calculation based upon the square meterage of your home office over your total square meterage. Now you go to your income tax return as an individual, and where and how do you claim it? So the first step will be when you open up your tax return. At the start, there is a wizard that requires you to answer some questions, and based on the questions you answer, the return will populate. So the question that you will have to answer in the affirmative or with a yes is specifically, did you incur any expenditure that you wish to claim as a deduction that was not addressed by the previous questions? So you will have the standard questions, you will have comprehensive questions. It's the two parts of the return. This question, this step one, will be at the bottom of that comprehensive, where you will say there's other expenses that you also want to deduct. So now you've selected that option. Now your return populates. So what you now do is you go and look under the deductions for this code 4028, which is the code for home office expenses, and then you will then complete the home office expenses calculation next to that code. So now we have looked at where we are going to complete it, and we want to claim these home office expenses, but the question always is there a catch? Is there something that I will have to sacrifice because I am claiming home office expenses? I would not say there's a catch per se, but you have to take note of the following. So if you claim home office expenses, what you are basically telling SARS is that a part of your family home or your personal residence you are using for a trade. So to take an example, if you tell SARS that 20% of your residence is used for trade, that will then mean that 80% of your residence is used for personal use. So for all individuals that have a primary residence, when they sell their residence, they are able to claim a 2 million rand exclusion from the capital gain on the sale of that residence. So for example, you sell your residence for 3 million rand, you only paid 500,000 rand for the residence when you purchased it. That means that you will then have a 2.5 million rand gain. It's the 3 million rand minus the 500,000. So it's a 2.5 million rand gain or a profit on the sale of your property. If that's your primary residence, SARS allows you to deduct 2 million rand off that gain. So if your gain was 2.5 million, SARS says you can deduct 2 million, and then you will only have to look at tax on the remaining 500,000. It's the 2.5 million minus the 2 million. If you then go and you claim home office expenses, then say again, looking at our example, that only 80% of your residence is used for personal use, SARS will then say that that 2 million rand exclusion will then have to be reduced to only 80% of 2 million, which is in our example equal to 1.6 million. So say I claim home office expenses on 20% of my property, then unfortunately that 2 million rand exclusion that I would get when I sell my property will then also be reduced, and in our example to 1.6 million. So you can see on the one side there is benefits of claiming home office expenses. You are able to claim home office expenses every year, but it will come with the sacrifice of the 2 million rand exclusion, or at least a portion of that, depending on how much or what percentage home office expenses you are claiming. If you would like more information on this topic, I've included a link here to the SARS interpretation note. If you would like a copy of the slideshow, you're welcome to send me an email and I will be glad to send you a copy of the slideshow. Then I would just like to say thank you very much for watching this presentation. If you found this information useful, please share it with your friends. And if you like this content, please consider subscribing to this channel for more great future content, and please click the little bell that will give you a notification when a new video comes out. I can also encourage you to check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, and also to follow me on my LinkedIn channel. I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to make them in the comments section below, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you very much. This is Anrich Marais signing out.